Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael C. Costambienes, and my partner is Mrs. Cecilia M. Rosales. We are here to report to you the topic, what is reading? Alright, so we'll proceed to the first slide. What is reading? Okay, but before that, I will present to you a picture. Alright, so based from this picture, it is said that the most fundamental definition of reading is being able to interpret written symbols and understand printed materials. Like walking and talking, learning to read does not happen all at once, but happens gradually through continuous experiences with printed material and reading-related activities. Parents can help their children learn to read by presenting and reinforcing these printed materials and reading-related activities. Likewise, we have here the definition of reading. Reading is also an essential part of our daily lives. We read every day. We read the daily newspapers. We read instructions in recipe books, road signs, television's manual, and even electric bills. Students across year levels also read an array of instructional materials like books, journal articles, and other valuable references. Hence, days would not go by without us reading anything we could lay our hands on. So meaning, reading is really important because this is always applicable in our daily lives. Right. Moving on, we have here the 4 language skills. So the first one is listening. The second is speaking. The third is reading, and the fourth one is writing. So, as you can see, listening and speaking are the 2 skills on top because according to our orientation, it is said by Mr. Valles, Sir Valles, he said that listening and speaking, even though this is not taught, this can be acquired by a child. But reading and writing, it is impossible for a child to acquire this one if someone will not taught about these skills. Okay? Especially we are teachers, we have to taught reading and writing to our learners. Okay, so we have here the next slide. The following are what experts have to say about the complexity of the reading process. Okay, the first one, reading make it a full man. Conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. This implies that we create a total view of ourselves and the environment we live in through reading, making us whole, complete, learned, and persons that matter. This is according by Francis Bacon. Meaning, if you know how to read, you will be a very competent man and you can share the knowledge that you have. Then number 2, reading after a certain age diverts that minds too much from its creative pursuits. Any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. So that's according to Albert Einstein. So you read more books but you use only a few portion of your brain, it is not okay, according to Albert Einstein. It is useless. Then the third one, what do we read? Okay, so the message is not something given in advance or given at all, but something created by interaction between writers and readers as participants in a particular communicative situation. So as a teacher, we give freedom to our learners. What materials are they going to read? Based from their ability, an era, karuyag, basa ako nga books, So, mas maupay, kasi mas maingganyan hira, pagbasa ko na siya to nira karuyag. So, that is according to Roy Harris in Rethinking Writing in the year 2000. Then the number 4 is reading is asking question of printed text. So it is not merely only reading the text, but we have to ask questions. Naintindihan ba nira gimbasa? Diba? Comprehension wise is very important in reading. It is just useless if you have read 2 pages and after that, when you ask question, the children could not understand what he or she have read. So again, it is number 4, questions is very important because it is where we could tell that our children learn from the text that he have read. Okay, that is according to Frank Smith in Reading Without Nonsense in the year 1997. Okay, moving on, we have reading is a psycholinguistic guessing game according to Kenneth Goodman in Journal of Reading Specialist in the year 1967. So, he added that efficient reading does not result from precise perception and identification of all elements, but from skill in selecting the fewest most productive cues necessary to produce guesses which are right the first time. So, the ability to anticipate that which has not been seen, of course, is vital in reading, just as the ability to anticipate what has not yet been heard is vital in listening. Okay? So, number 6, the greatest gift is the passion for reading. Yan. So, according to Elizabeth Hardwick, it is cheap, it consoles, it distracts, it excites, it gives you knowledge of the world and experience of a wide kind. It is moral illumination. So meaning if you have the passion of reading, you are excited, you are just traveling around the world, by just reading that particular material. It gives you joy, it gives you happiness, but sometimes people they don't love reading too much. May talaga mga sugaditon nga tao. Anyway, we'll proceed to number 7. Number 7 is, according to James Gee in Social Linguistics and Literacies, literacy practices are almost always fully integrated with, interwoven into, constituted as part of the very texture of wider practices that involve talk, interaction, values, and beliefs. So, values is very important in reading. So, we always integrate values in all the subjects. Why? Because it is useless if our children are good enough in reading, they are good enough in numbers, but when it comes to values, they are poor on this matter, then it would be not good for us. Okay? Alright, so number 8, according to Maria Cecilia Crudo, reading is a dynamic process in which the reader interacts with the text to construct meaning. Yes, this is correct. So, it is a process. It does not stop reading alone, but you have to construct the meaning. Continuous, no? What is the meaning of the word you get from reading of that certain word from the material? You construct the meaning and then you formulate a sentence. Okay? Then number 9, according to W.S. Gray, reading is an interaction between the reader and the writer language, through which the reader tends to reconstruct message from the writer. Correct. And even in our classroom setting, interaction is very important. Meaning, it is where we could tell that children learn from our discussion if they have answered the question that we thrown to them, or there is an interaction between classmate and the student and the teacher, student to student, and student to teacher. So, I hope, classmate, that you have learned something about what is reading all about. Because the next slide will be presented by my partner, Ma'am Cecilia M. Rosales.
Okay, good morning, sir. So my part is more on, more views on reading. So we have number 1, Partnership for Reading, National Reading Panel, Reading First Law of 2000. The skills and knowledge to understand how phonemes or speech sounds are connected to print. The ability to decode unfamiliar words. Upo, naglilinugaring niya. More views on reading. Number 1, Partnership for Reading, National Reading Panel, Reading First Law of 2000. So the skills and knowledge to understand how phonemes or speech sounds are connected to print, and the ability to decode unfamiliar words. So when we are reading, we cannot escape that when we read unfamiliar words, we try to scan our dictionary. Okay, next. Neil Druck and P. David Person. He said that good readers are active readers. So when we are reading, we try to think. Kay ano so dito?